Continue to shift your consciousness.
Welcome, brothers and sisters. Welcome. It is I, the Reverend Austin Nash Miles, here once again, blessed, dressed, ready to serve you a good word unto reunification. Hello again, brothers and sisters. Today we will be talking about 3 powerful ways to grow spiritually, feeling detections in our energy field. My experiences, my thoughts, maybe a bit of what I picked up from my high master. And be sure to stay tuned to the end. You don't want to miss about all the ways I discuss how we can use what we have learned about feeling detections in our energy field to spiritually develop. Now, when we feel, we pick up things. We feel what's going on with our environment. And when we do so, we gather information. The senses are part of these receptors. They helping us pick up. And though it's not necessarily obvious what the sense is until we get a feel for it. Once we get a feel for it, then we can know what to do next. Now, we know of the 5 senses, and from my understanding, the 6th sense is that realm of intuition. As you can imagine, only hearing something and not knowing what it is, and yet you get a feeling of something ominous or something, cheerful. Sometimes these detections that we feel as a feeling or an emotion, moved as energy, of course, we have a sense of mystery. The mind may not always know what to think of those feelings, and so we may not have a thought. And there's a pure feeling that will stay a feeling. And we kind of have to do the best we can in interpreting our intuit. And as we feel more, we come to understand our feelings. We come to understand the tendencies or the patterns our energy runs in. And it's tantamount to feelings we've had before, situations that make us feel certain ways. These are patterns, programs replaying themselves in our psyche, in our matrix. And when we start to understand more of these feelings being detected, we start to know more of our energy and can figure out, this is mine And this is not. This was given to me. Um, helping us understand more of our energy and more of how we're affected by other people's energy in certain situations, or just with certain types of energies, whether it be, an anger or confusion or some kind of tenseness in the air, an awkwardness, that weird feeling that comes when you're speechless and you don't know what to say. Understanding it all helps us grow. There should be an article linked in the description where I talk more. I'll go a little more in depth about the energy and our feelings. But the third way, when feeling, is letting go. The first part would be detecting the feelings. The second part would be understanding them. And the third way would be to learn to let them go, to learn to forgive. And to do that, we need the energy of those feelings to flow, to move. That's why it's important in our ascension journey that we try and move, exercise, just get the body and the blood moving, to help move stagnant energy, to keep new freshness about our disposition in our ascension journey. We're trying to find more and more ways to be of an up vibe. If we don't have the power to move this energy and let it flow, forgiveness, thankfulness, compassion, even these things that come after an understanding, after we've moved from dark to light, these things cannot happen. They have not created a space for a light field action, like forgiveness and thankfulness. You must create a space for that within yourself. If energy is not moving, that's going to be very, very difficult to do. All right, folks, it is that time again. We'll be discussing spiritual development in particular, and how we're going to use these things to spiritual develop. Well, intuition is one of the main things you're going to use to tap into your high master. When I say I speak or I receive from my high master, it is my higher self, my greater self, my inner master, my I am master. In certain scriptures, they talk about going into the temple of the self and honoring that master and serving that master. If you're Christian, you can think of that master as Christ. It's also known as the Atman, the inner self. It is a child of creation. Child of Creation is the name of our blog where we have all our spiritual literary. There should be a link in the description, and probably banners and logos in a lot of places if you followed me or seen any of my work. But yes, intuition is one of the main ways we will grab information from the unseen, from the unknown, from within ourselves. And also, it is that feeling that tells us that this is something, we need to hold on to, we need to grab, we need to write down. Intuition is powerful, and it's going to be one of your key weapons, key tools in furthering your self-discovery. We second touched on feeling those detections and understanding them. Understanding your own truth and understanding what you've picked up from your own high master or your own higher self, which is very likely pertinent to your journey. You're going to want to understand those things. You want to keep them close to yourself. When you do understand them and you trust that you've gotten the right idea from your high master spiritually, then you can trust this understanding. This understanding brings you discernment. You're able to know and able to feel who is bringing you truth and who is not, and who has something else to gain and who does not, and who has someone who has no expectations as far as when they give forth their good works. Third way to grow spiritually that we touched on was to feel the emotions in an effort to get them to flow. As you know, and we've talked about it, when you study Tao, you know that mind moves the chi. We can also transmute those energies into something else. If you can think of a nightmare or something scary within yourself, and you made it into the form of a child, or you put a funny mask on it, you've just kind of transformed it into something that doesn't affect you the way it does before. And this transmuting is also important in my email course, and we talk about thankfulness and forgiveness as well. I really urge you to pick that up. We're going to be expanding on some more of those teachings here later on in the history of the channel, of course. But yes, creating that space to let emotions flow, to let things go, creating a space, giving your heart the ability to forgive, that creates a shift. That creates a vibrational shift that's important for our journey, very critical, in fact. People who heal from their dark night of the soul and they come out a bit differently, they come out a bit brighter, they come out a bit understanding more about themselves, they come out becoming a little more used to what they've been feeling and understanding it more and how to cope with it, feeling the feelings, detecting them as feelings in your energy field, whether it be your feelings or someone else's, understanding if it's yours or someone else's, and having the ability, creating that space to let it flow, putting yourself in a position to let go and forgive, all helps us spiritually, helps increase our vibration. It helps bring a practice to our heart in forgiving and letting go. And it also brings practice to our intuition, which, as I said, is going to be a key to our spiritual journey. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell notification to be notified for when I have something else available to help your spiritual consciousness journey. Continue to shift your consciousness with this next video.